Zent, how many job simulator videos do you plan on making?
Well, I really like the games, and as a result, I have a lot to talk about. However, I don't want to draw down to the thin, easy, mediocre content like breaking every job simulator character, unless I really have something to say. I want all my videos to be new and innovative, and I know I can only make so many videos about these games before it gets stale. I plan to move on to other things I like.
Zent, they're making a new job simulator game.
Good morning, sunshine!
Bueno, piñu. Bueno, piñu.
Hi, my name is Zint, and as the community-nominated job simulator YouTuber, it is my job given right to make a video discussing this game. I'm capitalizing on that, you can't stop me. No one else is going to do it anyway, so I might as well profit. Yes, hello curious internet goers who recognize the name Job Simulator and are interested about the new Job Simulator game. This is where it's at. I promise I'm not some random nobody. I have a handful of Owlchemy art showcases under my belt, and I promise I know what I'm talking about. If anyone is going to make a video about this and be factually accurate, it's going to be me. First off, boy was I far off. My initial prediction of this teaser and the little hints was a remake or revisit to the original Job Simulator game from 2016. You can't blame me too, I had pretty solid proof, evidence. I was coming from somewhere. I mean, yes, I did predict we would be getting a new game back in July, but never in my life would I have predicted it was going to be a co-op game on Steam, let alone flat screen. So, what exactly did we get? Job Simulator Human Relations is the next entry in the Job Simulator multiverse, not a third game, made by FarBridge this time. Owlchemy Labs lent out the IP to the studio while they focus on their favorite golden child of dimensional doubleshift. To halt the rumors, no, Owlchemy is not pivoting back to PC. They're still focusing on VR or XR or whatever Daddy Google tells them to make. Owlchemy is here to support FarBridge from the back, but they're not the lead on this game in particular. This stakes for me because now I have to get on the good side of 2 game studios to get a proto cameo? Aw, dang, if only I could utilize the spare $1,000 in my back pocket to do that instead of raw passion and love for the franchise. FarBridge is also located in Texas and has worked with Owlchemy in the past via the aforementioned DDS, but they've also worked on Inside Job and other game studios outside of Owlchemy. And a lot of what they've made are VR games, so you can't get mad at me into thinking it was a new VR game, okay? Be quiet. The teaser officially dropped on August 11th, 2026, and the Kickstarter launched the same day. Instead of the Job Simulator 3 or prequel or remake the fans expected, this game is a standalone PC game that takes place in the world of Job Simulator. Rest in peace Vacations bot, you got hit by a bazooka. You can play solo or up to 4 players in an office environment doing tasks and trying not to blue screen and die. It's a physics-centric game where the office is actively imploding on itself and you and your team have to deal with it. Don't know who put bots back in charge, maybe we do need Derek Andrews back. I could not tell you when in the timeline this appears. My first thought was a prequel because JobBot, or I think it's JobBot, sounds super young and BossBot still has a job. Speaking of which, is this in the actual real-world SRS Business Inc. building, or does this all take place in the Job Simulator? That doesn't make sense. The simulators are for human use only. IGN says it takes place in 2050, but why are the bots replicating human group projects? Do bots do that now? I know they replicate the human past via the simulators, but they're never really indulging in it themselves because that's backtracking and that's inefficient for the work environment. The timeline, it doesn't make sense. Is this before or after the events of the game? Is this what's going on in the back room when the simulation is in session? Tell me, FarBridge, tell me! But I digress. We'll talk more about that later. Playtests are set to launch in January of 2027, and the game is set to fully release in late 2027 or early 2028. Thankfully, that was the only thing I was able to predict. You can actively wishlist this game on Steam until it officially releases, and I recommend doing that if you want to see more Job Simulator content in the future. Since the game was announced literally yesterday, or whenever I get this video out, we only have detailed access to 2 things: the gameplay, the Kickstarter, and whatever the heck Owlchemy wants us to know. Things are subjected to change, and I don't work for Owlchemy or FarBridge. I'm sorry, but Owlchemy hasn't granted me any inside information yet. I'm just as close as you are. The next few chapters of this video will be discussing these from all that's publicly available. The final chapter will be my personal thoughts, if you'd like to skip there to just hear it. Let's dig into my deep-rooted Rayman genes and see how many videos I can milk out of this simple teaser. If they can make 10 plus videos about Retold, I'm sure I can get at least 2.
Only on your 4th round? can you collect 2 tokens. Once you've collected your 2 tokens, that's when you can apply for immunity.
Since the game hasn't been released and won't be released until 2027, I can't really comment much on the gameplay outside what is shown. Also, this is all subject to change. Who knows what the game is going to look like when it actually comes out. Now, the first big thing is that this game is on Steam. No, not Steam VR, but straight up Steam. PC. We're ditching the headset, we did it anyways. You can play alone or up to 3 other people via online or split screen. You complete various tasks throughout the workplace and fight with your team to accomplish said tasks. Office disasters happen periodically, whether that be a floor-wide flood, a room-long fire, or BossBot being a jerk and jump-scaring you with assignments. These don't just happen all of a sudden, leaving things unchecked or little incidents can blow up into a disaster. I think that's a fun little detail because it gives me more of a reason to yell at my friends for things I caused. As you complete tasks and jobs, you climb the corporate ladder. This is how you unlock new classes, customizations, and harder things to do. On that topic, let's talk about who you play as. This time, you play as a bot. That's right, humans are gone now, bots are the future. What the heck, let's say they've killed them all too! What do I know, right? You'll be able to customize their hats to dictate their role in the rounds, while the screen is fully customizable with no gameplay changes. The roles shown were the Fire hat, which lets you spray water everywhere, the Whirly hat that gives you the ability to straight up fly, and the Hard hat, which comes with a vacuum. Obviously, there's more hats, but these are the ones specifically stated. I think that's a really neat concept in terms of having a different role since all the bots are the same exact model. DDH could learn a thing or two, I don't know! You can add different things on your screen to stand out among your peers, and I'm hoping you can change the screen color too. Multiple bots can have the same hat at once, and I think you can change it throughout the shift, don't quote me on that. I'm hoping they add more customization options as the game progresses. Different glasses, stickers, freckles, so many bots have unique design quirks, and FarBridge should definitely utilize that for their game. If you need ideas, I'm right here. When the other jobs drop, I hope they all get different accidents unique to their areas, like you can get robbed in a convenience store or a bug problem in Gourmet Chef. Cameos from the other bots would be cool too. This is in the job simulator, there are a handful of named bots that work there. Banditbot can work at SRS Business Inc. even after robbing Slushy Mart. BossBot is an active customer at Grifty Lube, and I don't know, Gomer Grub is there, I guess. This is an interconnected world, FarBridge. If you're as big as a fan as you claim you are, I expect you to utilize this world to the fullest. You should even make a vacation simulator centric for. With the money you require to even make the game, this isn't a lot to ask. Speaking of money, how much does human relations need to even become real?
$101 for a Krabby Patty? With cheese, Mr. Squidward, with cheese.
Like many of the new games coming out in recent times, Job Simulator Human Relations has a Kickstarter you can back. At first, I was really excited because this could be my shot to grab more official Job Simulator merch. That didn't last too long. There are 7 tiers ranging from $25 to $5,000. Okay, can you do that in a Kickstarter? Is that a thing people can do without worry? Some tiers are limited stock, like the early shift versions, which are a discounted version of normal tiers. These are only available 24 hours after the Kickstarter started, so they're probably out when finishing this video. Sorry. The other limited tiers are the last 2, CEO Bot and Member of the Board Bot. They cost $1K and $5K respectively and have 26 slots in total. Overall, the Kickstarter needs $150,000 to succeed. That, to me, is an already crazy goal with an even crazier rank. Who in the right mind is going to spend $5K on a game that doesn't exist yet? Holy confidence. Ooh. The goal feels like kind of a lot for a game of this scale. Even if every Job Simulator fan pitched in $10, we wouldn't even make it. If this Kickstarter works and they don't lower the price, FarBridge better wow me out of my socks with mountains of content and material to look for. I'm talking voice acting, cutscenes, secrets, a plot maybe? That'd be cool. But hey, the only thing I've constantly backed was the Rayman board game. Maybe games do need this much money to be good. And because of that, I have my own personal grievances with Kickstarter, but that's the next chapter. Let's go over the tiers and what exactly you get from forking over your cold hard cash. For $20, or $25 now, you get the new Hire Bot role. This gives you a copy of the game during launch, exclusive wallpapers, Discord access, a Discord badge, and what I'm assuming is in the Owlchemy server, and your name in the credits. This is how low you can go, and many of the tiers follow something similar like this. As the tiers go up, you get a cooler badge, more copies of the game, a handbook, etc. The Associate Human Bot for $50 gives you access to beta testing. Bot Worker of the Week for $75 gives you alpha testing. Middling Managing Bot gets pre-alpha testing for $100, you get the point. The last thing is when things jump and get a bit more extravagant, I guess? For the low price of $500, you become the Chief Corporate Climbing Officer. This puts you in the Design Council. You help shape the game and participate in feedback sessions hosted by the team. If you have the funds, you can hand over $500 more and be able to make a custom bot face or motivational poster to be seen in-game. Wow guys, Proto can finally be real $1,000 later. Now, I would allude to something different, but I already spoiled this. For $5,000 whole dollars, you can get a poster of a character of your choosing in the main lobby, and a Discord badge. Grab it while you can, folks! Giving $4,000 more earns you nothing more besides a portrait. Isn't that great? Doesn't it seem worth it? Besides that, currently you don't get any physical merch for backing. Just game codes, badges, playtesting, and a portrait if you're rich enough. I don't know if things are subject to change. Maybe more rewards will be added or prices would lower. I know you actually pay when the Kickstarter gets funded. I'm hoping you'd get more out of the last 3 tiers in specific because they are such nothing burgers right now. Wow, you get a poster! That's some crazy work for investing $1,000 into this game. But that's all we know about the game. Like I said, more info is bound to come out. Now, what do I personally think of it? Because surprisingly, people want to hear what I have to say.
Alright, well, I'm not a huge fan, personally, of the whole 3 weeks earlier teaser thing. I feel like, we should start our stories where they begin, not start them where they get interested.
Get out.
What?
Before I let out the simulated bears at this poor teaser and show FarBridge what they're in for from doing anything with the simulatorverse, let me tell you what I like and what I'm excited about. I know this is a bit of a hot take, but tackling a multiplayer aspect could work, even if the previous simulator games were solo. Maybe I just love my friends and I made Job Simulator every single one of them's problems, but I think there's a lot you could do here. Unlike DDS, which is constrained with a certain kind of headset, Human Relations is on Steam and you just need a Steam account, so that's one issue they've dealt with. Maybe I'm biased. I genuinely did get into Job Simulator because of the game Moving Out, a friend-focused game. My siblings and I made a joke about the boss and Jobbot being in a relationship and my world changed. I'm not even kidding, my very first fan art of Jobbot was ship art between him and the boss. Fred Slop is my bread and butter. I love this stuff. I really like the concept of playing as a bunch of bum-ob bots in a workspace. That's literally what Proto is, of course I'm going to like it. I also like that you can customize the bots and they have different roles depending on which hat they wear. That's super cute! They can stack on top of each other and work together. Aww. I'm glad BossBot is back from jail, or before jail. I hope they do a bit more to expand on his character since allegedly humans aren't currently around. I wonder if he's always going to be in charge or if it switches depending on what job you're currently at. Like Sleazebot for auto mechanic, Jobbot for convenience store, and like Tempbot or something for gourmet chef. Jobbot's voice is going to take a minute to get used to. I know he's already sounded a tad bit funny in Inside Job, but this low-key sounds like a recast. But hey, maybe age gets to a guy. I'm sure I'll learn to love it in the future. Speaking of the future, I hope that this game will expand on the world of the simulatorverse when it comes to the bots and what they actually do for a living. This game takes place at the Job Simulator, and I assume they're going to be replicating all 4 jobs from the original game in the future. But then that makes me nervous. If you don't know, I am the lore guy in the simulatorverse fandom. Duh. I'm pretty sure Owlchemy shivers in fear whenever someone asks anything about Job Simulator because they know my ass is there. I know the story and world building of the games are confusing and hard to follow, especially when you're not actively searching for it. But hey, FarBridge, my video is right there if you need a reminder. These simulators are only for humans. This is shown in the first game. Bots can't use them as an actual worker. Are these bots working at the actual simulations, or are they like a cleanup crew after the ruckus the average human makes? I think the cleanup crew idea is really neat. FarBridge, write that down. But if they make Jobbot a clueless museum curator and the simulations are bad because he has no idea on how human working worked because of negligence and not because of the fact it's because records were lost at time and he physically could not know about them, I will find FarBridge myself. Jobbot knows what he's talking about, trust me. I highly doubt this game is going to have a story, let alone things you can put in perspective of the lore, but there obviously are ways to add character to BossBot and even your own playable characters. If you want to keep them a blank slate, fine. You could do something similar to Moving Out, where before every job, or however this game is formatted, your bot character says something funny and the others can bounce off of it, and then the job starts. It'll add some life to your game and characters. Listen, if I manage to convince my parents to spend $5,000 on this, it's honestly the least I could ask. But that ends what I like and leads into things I have a bit of a problem with. Unless FarBridge or Owlchemy plans on paying me, I'll rip whatever you put out a new one out of love and kindness. I don't want to destroy the gameplay yet. I have faith that FarBridge are the big simulator-verse fans they claim they are. The game hasn't even made it to playtesting, so it feels unfair ripping into it at the moment. I can see how people can find it boring and strange, but we don't know how the game will work exactly. So let's talk about the Kickstarter, more specifically the prices, because why are they so ridiculous? Like, okay, $25 for the game on launch, your name in the credits, and exclusive wallpapers. That is fine. That is normal, even. Then we go down and down. I'm sorry, who is spending $500 on this? $1,000? What do you mean that if you give them $5,000 you get an in-game portrait that the average player would look over and nothing else? I'd understand if this was an animated series and you could have a character have like a role or something and port it, but from what's given it doesn't seem all too grand, let alone worth $5,000. You're better off getting the 1K tier because at least you can create your own cosmetic from that. Member of the board bot feels more like a bragging right. Okay, I give the Rayman board game a lot of slack. Stuff's been delayed for a really long time, and I'm honestly unsure if I'm ever getting my stuff back, but at least when I paid for the Legends tier for the Rayman board game, the highest tier might I add, I'm able to physically look at all the content I'm supposed to be getting for $250 only. I get physical figures and the physical DLCs and even full-scale figures than the main 4. Maybe board games are easier to produce, but we don't get a grain of physical content from backing. If all 10 slots are taken, a third of the total goal? I promise you, pins or keychains or shirts cannot be that hard to produce. Like, holy heck, do you think Job Simulator fans are made of money? Some of us are, but the ones who are willing to spend that money don't have it. If I'm giving your game $5,000, I am expecting a full 3D model and an unskippable cutscene with the character of my creation. I want you guys to ship personally in a private helicopter a life-size version of the JobBot self-portrait directly to my house, plus a shirt. A portrait on the wall is cool, but it's not worth $5,000. We don't even know how big these are going to be in-game. 1K was already pushing it, and I have problems with that. On the topic, the prices are outright bonkers. To back it at the lowest possible is $20 for the first 24 hours before becoming $25. Yes, you can get a cool Discord badge, but $20 is a lot. I could be buying Vacation Simulator with that money. FarBridge, please, if Owlchemy recommends your team to watch my BS, listen to my pleas and don't make the base game $20. The community and people have already told me this is outrageous. This is an $8 game at best, I'm sorry. If I do end up paying that $5K and FarBridge dips and the game remains unpublished, you bet your ass I'm storming right up to Owlchemy Studio to get them to tell FarBridge to lock the hell in. Outside of the Kickstarter, I do have one more gripe about this game, considered a hot take and a little bit more personal. As much as I'm so super duper happy to get a new game, spin-off or not, I do think Job Simulator loses a lot of its initial charm when ported to PC. Job Simulator isn't just some VR game, I'd argue it's the VR game. It was one of the first and most successful VR games when the HTC Vive first dropped. That's why I've always been opposed to a PC port of the original game or even Vacation Simulator. I don't think the simulator games are quite the same outside of their VR home. I get it, VR is niche. Multiple VR companies have shut down recently and continue to because the market is just not there. You can't convince someone to fork over $200 on a system that gives them migraines if they play for over an hour. The most profitable decision in this case is to make a PC version in a similar style to the other games dominating the market, co-op, or friend swap. It just doesn't really feel like Job Simulator anymore, at least from what we've been shown. I'm not trying to gatekeep Job Simulator from people. I want everyone to give it a try if they have a chance, but it just doesn't really feel the same. It's hard to explain, but it's like a forbidden but unharmful glitch in the simulator. Like, it's there, but it doesn't seem quite right. I guess that's why this game is a spin-off, huh? I'm not complaining that we're getting a new game, lower your pitchforks. I'm a YouTuber, I'm always gonna find something to complain about, but I am grateful we are getting anything unlike other Owlchemy games. I'm hopeful this game will surprise me. Maybe this is some hidden gem in the making that gives the fans what we want. They're the ones spending $5,000 on this game. No, I'm not letting that go. But hey, don't take my word as gospel no matter what people say. If you're excited for it, be my guest. If you're disappointed, that's completely fair too. I'm somewhere in the middle, but I know that option will change when more details are released, for better or for worse. I still think we should have gotten a Job Simulator remaster or revisit or something. I think that would have worked better in terms of pleasing the fans and getting people back on the game. Get Jobbot his 10 seconds of fame he needs. But if human relations generally works out and subsequently gets Owlchemy back on their feet, well, I hope that indicates Job Simulator is still profitable and we get that final game in the trilogy. As always, thank you to the lovely folk who's drawn me fan art. Show me yours in my Discord server linked below, DM me on any of my platforms, or just tag me when you post it. I love seeing them. Thanks to Sif and Sunny for providing voices for the opening skit too. Okay, I don't really know what to think about all this. I want to hope this game is going to be good and the Kickstarter actually works, but there's always that shadow of a doubt. Like, a multiplayer job simulator is cool, but that's just DDS, which is just Job Simulator. Jobbot put that image of a snake eating itself on screen. I'm a little bit worried about FarBridge taking control of it all. I fear that this game won't expand the world as much as it could and just make it a simple task completion friend game. Wow, the lore guy is concerned about the lore. That is some crazy information. Anything for Owlchemy to focus on DDS, I guess. In my mind, I'm hoping it's like a Portal Bridge Constructor scenario where it shares little to none with the main games in terms of lore and story outside the title. I think if that's the case, I'd be a little less particular about certain things in the game. Alas, I'm not going to pump out a video about this game weekly. I have a little bit more dignity than that, but if something new or big comes out, I'll make a short or a long form depending on how crazy it is. If I do end up backing it and getting access to the pre-release versions, I wouldn't be able to say anything about them anyway. NDAs and all that fun stuff. I do genuinely love the Simulator-verse games so much, and there's so much I can still talk about with them. I plan on making a few in-depth Vacation Simulator videos in the near future, so I don't need to resort to being a sellout yet. I would say like, comment, and subscribe for more Job Simulator news, but I actually need you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and hype the video to make my funds back because I spent everything I had on this game. Also, that shows me there is a market for my Simulator-verse videos. And for the people asking how I got this out so quickly, I was actively writing the script in my AP Gov class. Honestly, I do write most of my scripts in school. Maybe I should go do my homework. Anyways, back to Kickstarter if you desire, link is in the description. If not, at least wishlist the game on Steam, which is also in the description. Whatever happens, let's hope Job Simulator has a semi-prosperous future, even if I have to be the one hauling it.